All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to become future archaeologists. Our mission is to crack open a time capsule from the not-so-distant past of early 2017 to really understand that world. We're going to explore its hopes, its fears, and what it thought the future, which is, our present, was going to look like. So let's start the dig. So this is the big question, right? This is what our whole dig is about. By looking at what people were thinking and worrying about back then, we get this incredible snapshot of a world on the verge of, on the verge of now. What did they see coming? And maybe more importantly, what did they miss completely? Okay, so you can't have an archaeological dig without an artifact. And ours is a really good one. It's the January 2017 issue of a prominent Chinese magazine called Sunlian Life Weekly. And the cover story, you can't make this up, was literally titled Future Archaeology. It's just too perfect, a fitting place for us to begin. So, as we carefully brush away that first layer of dust from our artifact, what do we find? Well, we find a world that was seriously grappling with some huge shifts. The magazine's summary of global news reveals this deep sense of uncertainty, a feeling that the ground was shifting under everyone's feet and nobody was quite sure what was coming next. And just look at these headlines. They really paint a picture of the global mood back then. In the United States, you've got this major political upheaval, raising all sorts of questions about what an America First policy would mean for the world. As President Obama was leaving office, there was this look back on a legacy of economic recovery, sure, but also these unresolved social issues. And then over in Europe, a terror attack in Berlin sent these ripples of anxiety across the whole continent. It all adds up to this one single feeling. The world felt unpredictable. It felt fragile. But archaeology isn't just about kings and presidents and big headlines, right? The really cool stuff, the stuff that tells you what life was actually like, often comes from everyday people. So, digging a little deeper into our magazine, we hit gold, the reader letters section. And here we get to hear from ordinary people, and we see how all these huge changes were being felt on a really personal level. Listen to this quote. It's from a teacher in Jiangsu, and it just reveals the immense pressure on the ground. They wrote, "We get bookworms who lack creativity. Our children have suffered so much." They went on to describe students studying from before dawn until late into the night, just sacrificing their entire childhood for a shot at a university spot. Wow, it's just a powerful, heartbreaking look at the personal cost of the race to get ahead. And that pressure cooker environment, it wasn't just in the classroom. It was everywhere. The letters just paint this vivid picture of a society under a ton of stress. People wrote about the constant, frustrating battle with smog, feeling totally helpless as these things called smog-spraying cannons roamed the streets. They shared stories about this clash between old and new, especially in rural areas, where ancient traditions were just colliding head-on with modern economic demands. Okay, so this next number, 60,000 yuan, might not seem like much without context, but believe me, it tells a huge story. One reader described being at a rural wedding where, on the day of the ceremony, the bride's family suddenly demanded this extra cash as a boarding the car fee. Can you imagine? On the wedding day itself. It's just this perfect, stark example of the kind of intense social and financial pressures that were just bubbling away right under the surface. So we've seen the big global anxieties, and we've drilled down into the personal, everyday worries. But this is where our artifact, the magazine, takes this wild turn. It dives headfirst into its central theme. And it presents this mind-bending paradox. That humanity was dreaming of this brilliant, amazing future, while at the very same time, that progress was creating dangers that were, existential. The magazine started talking about something that we now call existential risks. And let's be clear, these aren't your everyday problems. We're not talking about traffic jams or a bad quarter. We are talking about game-over level threats, events that could either wipe humanity out completely or cripple our potential so badly that we could never, ever recover. The stakes, as they saw them in 2017, could not have been higher. And what's really interesting is how they broke these threats down. They basically put them into two big buckets. On one side, you have the dangers from way out there, from the cosmos, these vast, impersonal forces. And on the other, you have something much, much closer to home, the dangers we've created for ourselves. One is external, the other comes from within. And when you look at the cosmic threats they listed, man, it is really humbling. We're talking about things like a civilization-ending asteroid, the same kind of thing that took out the dinosaurs, or the insane destructive power of a nearby supernova that could just, poof, shred our ozone layer in an instant. They even discuss this theory that our solar system periodically passes through this dense disk of dark matter, triggering mass extinctions every 30 million years. It's just a stark reminder that we're on a tiny rock floating through a very big, very chaotic universe. But then, the article just slams on the brakes and pivots. It shifts from the dangers we can't control to the ones we can. And it does it with this absolutely bone-chilling quote from J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. This is the moment the conversation turns inward. So what were these man-made monsters they were so worried about back in 2017? Well, first up, the fear of creating a super-intelligent AI, a machine so smart it might just see humanity as an obstacle. Number two, accelerating climate change, which the article explicitly frames as humanity kicking off the planet's sixth mass extinction. And number three, the old classic that never goes away, nuclear weapons, and the horrifying possibility of a nuclear winter. So you see the pattern here, right? It all boils down to this one deeply unsettling idea that our greatest strengths, our incredible intelligence, our ability to harness energy, our endless scientific curiosity could become the very instruments of our own destruction. All right, so our archaeological dig is just about finished. Let's step back, put down our tools, and just take a look at what we found. What does this time capsule from 2017 actually tell us? What can we learn from this artifact about their past and about ourselves? If you had to boil the feeling of this artifact down to one single thing, it would be tension. It was this moment of incredible technological optimism, right? A belief that we could use AI and science to solve all our problems and build a utopia. But running right alongside that was this profound existential dread, a fear that we were losing control and that our own amazing creations might just end up consuming us. And that, of course, leaves us with one last really big question. A question for you, for me, for all of us. We just spent our time looking into their hopes and fears. But imagine archaeologists a few decades from now. Imagine they unearth a time capsule from today. What will our anxieties, our headlines, our social media posts, what will they tell them about us? What future are we building right now?